Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Eco Terminals 2 and 3.
So Iceland's open, the country that is, not the supermarket. So we're going to check it out once we've got through this massive queue to get into Heathrow, that is.
Heathrow are enforcing strict boarding pass checks before you enter the terminal building. You're only allowed in within 4 hours of your flight departing, something which caught many people by surprise. Once inside, Terminal 2 seemed as busy as ever, a stark contrast with just a few weeks ago.
Hello there, you're right. Sorry? Iceland, yeah. Thanks very much. Cheers, have a good day. Bye-bye.
Now, before you fly to Iceland at the moment, you have to register your arrival with the Icelandic authorities. This involves filling in an online form and choosing whether you want to be allowed straight into Iceland with a COVID test on arrival, or if you prefer to quarantine for 14 days. The test costs the equivalent of just £51, which is much lower than private tests back in the UK, and you simply just pay online before you leave the UK, and then show them your barcode that you get when you arrive into Reykjavik. It's all pretty straightforward, as you'll see later on in the video. No fast-track security today, it was just straight through the normal lane, but there wasn't really much of a queue when you got through to the other side.
Thank you.
So I'm taking Iceland Air today in their Saga Premium Business Class product on board a 757 that's going to take me up to Keflavik in Iceland from here at Heathrow Terminal 2. There's no lounges or anything open today, so I've just nipped in WH Smith's to grab a quick coffee and get on my way, and I'm going to head down to the gate to get a look at the 757 that's going to be taking me across the North Atlantic to Keflavik in Iceland.
Thank you. Need this down. Thank you. Cheers, have a good day.
Today's ride then is this Boeing 757-200 that was originally delivered new to Iberia in 1999, before going on to Varig in Brazil in 2004 and then ending up in Russia with Kras Air. Eventually she went to Iceland Air in 2015 and they've had her ever since.
Hello. How are you?
Hello.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. So row 6, it's this way. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So Iceland Air's Saga cabin is in a 2-2 configuration with these really comfy leather seats. Waiting at the seat for me was this brown goodie bag full of food and drinks and snacks to keep me going through the flight, and something that quite surprised me, an amenity kit which you don't really get on short-haul flights in Europe. All the pillows throughout the cabin have these cute little phrases on them. In fact, come to think of it, pretty much everything in the Iceland Air cabin has cute, chintzy little phrases like this. It's all pretty cute, really. There's also quite a lot of legroom around the seats. It's actually really comfy and spacious, considering these aircraft normally only fly on routes up to about 3 or 4 hours long. It certainly beats the standard European business class configuration of just a normal economy row with the middle seat blocked out. So on board and actually pretty comfy actually. Well, that pops off. It's relatively comfortable. Iceland Air uses some pretty long sectors across the Atlantic, across Europe and across North America as well. And the business class isn't actually that bad. It's quite roomy, quite a lot of leg room. I'm looking forward to this a lot.
Should be able to push back from the gate in a short while. Flying time this afternoon to Keflavik will be 2 hours and 35 minutes.
Flight mode is permitted during the flight.
This Boeing 757 aircraft has 10 emergency exits.
Fairly soon it was time to push back from the gate and get our engines fired up for the flight up to Iceland. today then took us north out of London towards the northwest of England. We coasted out across the Irish Sea, passing the Isle of Man and Northern Ireland before crossing the North Atlantic Ocean into Keflavik. Flight time today 2 hours and 31 minutes at a cruising altitude of 40,000 feet. On the face of it, the in-flight entertainment system seemed pretty decent for a short-haul 757, but when you actually dug into the menus, all there was really was a few audiobooks and music choices. I spent most of the time with it on the moving map display just so I could see where we were going. It was time to pop open my tray table and have a root through my goodie bag that had been left on the seat. There was this packet of aptly named moss, which just turned out to be moss, a few bits of salad and stuff, a nice big chunk of chicken in that packet, a bottle of water, there's a bag of crisps in there as well, and also a packet of Stroop waffles, the highlight of today's lunch service. Now let's get on to the major surprise of today's flight, the amenity kit. I really was not expecting an amenity kit on a 3-hour European flight, but there we go. It's actually a really nice one as well. There was loads of bits and pieces in it. It pops out like this, and there's a little coat hanger thing at the top. And it's also relatively well stocked as well. There's a eye mask and a pair of socks and all the usual toiletries that you'd get. Actually really impressive. To get all of this on a 2.5-hour flight, I thought was fantastic. So then about an hour after takeoff from Heathrow, we're about an hour and a half now from Keflavik, and I have to say, so far I'm really enjoying Iceland there. I've kind of put off flying with them for ages because they don't offer the same business class product as a lot of the American or European carriers do on the flights over to the States. And also there's that stopover in the middle between Europe and the States, which means that you only get a 3 or a 4-hour flight times 2 as opposed to one straight through flight. But actually, having seen how good this is, it's actually really comfortable. The crew are really friendly. The meal service, despite it being restricted due to the current circumstances, is fine as well. And you get to ride on a 757. You can't do that very often these days, not least on the transatlantic route. So far at least, thumbs up to Iceland Air. All too soon it was time to start our descent as the coastline of Iceland became visible in the distance. My ride today then cost me just over 400 quid or just over $500, which for a ride of 1180 miles isn't too bad. But consider that Iceland Air often have return business class fares from Europe to the US for this £500 to £600 mark, and it becomes fantastic value for money if you're not bothered about the lack of a flatbed and the connection in Iceland. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so I had arrived into Iceland, and it was time to go and find out where I had to go to get my COVID test done.
Nice luck.
Thank you. How you like it? Thank you.
Hello, may I see the barcode?
Yes.
Thank you. This way.
Thank you. Hello. Hi. Yes, of course.
This way upstairs.
Thank you. There's actually staff dotted around the terminal to point you in the right direction. It actually wasn't that difficult to process.
Okay. Test.
Yes. So would like you have your passport ready as well.
Thank you.
And so the moment of truth. You go into these little booths where there's staff there to give you a coronavirus test.
Thank you. Of course.
Okay, so please have a seat. I'm going to take the samples for you.
Alright, thank you.
Now, if you've had a COVID test done before, you'll know what I mean when I say about the swabs not being the most comfortable experience in the world. They basically go right to the back of your throat, almost to the point where it makes you gag, and then do the same with your nose, right down deep into your nose as well. It's really not a comfortable experience.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, bye-bye.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to see even more videos of me getting medically tested. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more where that came from over the next few months.
Yes, perfect. Alright, thank you very much.
Did you download the app?
I have the app, yes. Will that automatically link to the results and everything, or?
Yeah, they will send it to you on your phone.
Perfect. Alright, thank you. Bye-bye.
So all swabbed and tested, and then you're free to leave the airport while you wait for your results. You can actually go anywhere you want as long as you are kind of contactable by phone in case they ring you to tell you that you've turned out positive. For me, I was just going to take a short walk to the airport hotel and wait for the results to come through.
So I've made it to Iceland, and not a frozen prawn party ring is to be seen. What is to be seen though is some absolutely incredible scenery, and the fact that I've just had my COVID-19 result back from the test I did at the airport earlier, and it's come back as negative, which is fantastic. This incredible scenery that's all around me at the moment, I mean, I'm only just outside the airport, but just look at the scenery that we have here. I'm going to be exploring a lot of this over the next few days, and hopefully finding a few aeroplanes along the way as well. Do make sure that you hit that subscribe button though, so that you can check out my next video when it comes out. You're not going to want to miss it. All that remains for me to say is thanks so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.